I'm excited about this first recruiting class in my era. Feels good, really excited about this class coming in, full of depth and talent across the state of Ohio, across the country. And I'll get more into details with that. I think you can read it in the presser, but it's a testament to what our staff has been able to do since we've been here. Really put an emphasis on winning the state of Ohio. I believe we got 12 of those players. According to 224/7 Sports, seems like it's a pretty good class. And just really excited to bring these guys in. I think 6 of these kids are going to be mid-year guys that can come in early. So we're expecting them to be here in January to get a head start on their college careers, and we can develop them early, and it can probably help us this season some capacity. So still got our work cut out for us, but it's a good start. Anytime you can bring in the talent that we've identified and really didn't just go through the highlights, but really took time to find out about these young men, their parents, high character kids. That's the first thing that I can really say about this class is that they're high character kids, and we really put an emphasis on that aspect. And the second part is, can they play the game? Do they love the game of football? And they checked the boxes there. And when they came on their visit and saw, of course, the community, the facilities, the culture here at BGSU, our coaching staff, it felt like the right fit for each individual kid. So really excited about this class, and just the first pillar moving forward in the foundation that we have to develop and now build into a championship caliber football team. So open up for questions.
You mentioned there the intentionality of recruiting that in-state talent, and with that making up a strong presence of this year's recruiting class. What is that process like, building those connections throughout the state and ultimately building up a recruiting class with a lot of local talent here coming to Bowling Green State?
Well, our intention was to come in and meet with the coaches around the surrounding areas. In the state of Ohio, I've already had relationships going back to my time at Tennessee State. So just going to various camps, hit the pavement hard and heavy in the summer when we got here. It was really important for us to get our arms around those relationships, some of the pipelines that have already been established here prior to me getting here, and to create new pipelines with other schools and for them to get to know us. It's very important that you have to develop those relationships with the high school coaches, going to coaching clinics, hosting our own camps here, and just developing those relationships. And through those relationships, you were able to find some talented football players that we were interested in. And in these situations, you got to go through the profile. Like, do we check the box on these kids? Again, character is everything. We want to get kids that love the game of football in this day and age of NIL and revenue share. That can be the number one priority. Well, that can't be the number one priority coming here. It's a part of it, and we'll participate in that. But number one, do you care about the game of football? Do you care about getting your education? Do you want to be developed? Those things, having those conversations that matter. So, I feel really good about it, and that's kind of how we did our approach coming here to Bowling Green.
Awesome. You mentioned there the ranking of the class being strong in the conference. Per those recruiting platforms, for the potential of this class, obviously next season still being a while away, but when you look at the impact that these players could have, do you have any ideas of maybe what you're looking forward out of this year's group for short-term and long-term?
The potential, to develop the potential. I think when you're looking at these kids, can we mold them and develop them into the type of people that we want them to be? Understanding that it's just not about the player, but the person, and how we develop that character speaks volumes. If we can touch the soul of these kids and have an impact on them in a positive way, the product that we're going to get out on the football field will speak for itself. So to answer your question, that's the process. We're going to roll up our sleeves, continue to develop these relationships with every one of these kids, and really delve into their potential, and to cultivate that on a daily basis, and not just in the weight room, but to challenge them to be great people outside of here. That's extremely, extremely important, and I think oftentimes that can be overlooked. You've got to be able to develop those relationships and earn the trust and the right to coach these kids hard. So that's it.
I think one thing that stands out so far, you mentioned the character of the kids being very important and the quality of player you're looking to bring in here. Whether that be on or off the field, is there certain characteristics or qualities about the character of the individuals that you're looking for, or anything that maybe stands out about this year's group?
Well, having talked to every single one of these kids and meeting with their parents, the families, you're not just recruiting the kid, but you're recruiting the families as well. And talking with their parents, you kind of get a sense of how to coach them, and what their standards are, what their ethics and morals are, and it's aligned with ours. So it's important for a parent, for them to understand, well, what type of environment is my child going into? And being a parent myself and seeing it from that lens, I'm going to create an environment where you're going to be held accountable, where you're allowed to fail. Failing is okay. It's a part of the process. And understanding that how you view failure and how you respond to it is you meet it head on and you attack it and you learn from it and you grow from it. And that's the environment that I'm going to create here, or we try to create. And an environment where you can be vulnerable, allowing them to unleash a lot of traumas that they may have experienced that you don't typically think an 18 or 17-year-old kid has gone through, and allowing them to seek and help and an outlet to find a way to heal from those things. So all of those things are important, and every single kid that we've come across and parents that we've met with, we've gotten that feeling. So it's a partnership, and that's important, that you understand that it's just not transactional. It's a partnership, and these partnerships sometimes last for 4 years, 5, sometimes 7 years, and then there's these partnerships where you find out, hey, it's just not the right fit. We thought it would be, but it's not that way. So when we're having these conversations, these meetings, initially, you look at, okay, the character of the kid is he's got great grades. Is it what's important to him? Is it just football? What other things is he into? What other things does he enjoy? Is he just about just getting his education, or is he into other, I don't know, the arts, whatever that is? You have a really good idea of who you're getting and a good feeling of if this kid can come here and be a part of our culture and help elevate our culture, if we are all aligned on the same page. So that's how we kind of view it and go about it.
And then just looking at the breakdown of the recruiting class, I believe I saw 4 wide receivers and 3 tight ends. Just curious your perspective on the receiving game potentially being a point of emphasis, and what went into maybe targeting those 7 recruits there.
Just that we got to get more production at that position. This university is known to put out some great tight ends. It's not going to stop there. We're always going to look for great quality tight end play. We had the last 6 years, we have produced first team all MAC players at that position. Jiron being the 6th player. Jacob Harris also had a phenomenal year. So we're always going to look there. Wide receiver wise, the last year was clearly an Achilles heel. We're not able to make certain plays because of the lack of consistency at the quarterback position, and that will be addressed. So we got to find playmakers on the outside, on the perimeter, that can make plays, and certainly we got to have tight ends that can not only run block but also be an asset in the passing game.
And then just one last wrap-up question on my end. With the first signing window coming to a close for high school players and the transfer portal upcoming, is there a certain balance or formula that you look to implement when balancing the mix of high school and transfer talent, or is that even possible to know with the uncertainty of college football and the portal yet to open?
I think you just answered the question. It's ever-changing. Ideally, you want to have an 80-20, 80% being high school, 20% being transfer portal, but nowadays you're getting 50, almost a whole roster of players because you just don't know who's going to come back from your team. You've had successful players this year, and they're getting poached by bigger schools with money enticed. So you can assume that they're going to come back, but you almost have to assume that they're not. So you got to out-recruit them. You got to find other players. So you may be looking at a whole roster overhaul. You just never know. So ideally, philosophically, yeah, I would like to retain the players that we are developing from high school and do a plug-and-play as far as guys we need to get out of the transfer portal, like free agency. But if something happens where we need more players out of the portal, then I'm going to have to do that. So we use the portal as needed. We don't want to make it the core philosophy of what we do. I don't believe you can build a championship team through that philosophy of hiring, getting guns for hire, or a group of mercenaries out of the portal. It's tough to build cohesiveness and to create an authentic culture with that philosophy in mind.
Coach, with the struggles on offense you mentioned on the passing game in particular this past season, I see one quarterback and 3 offensive linemen there.
Mm-hmm.
Those are obviously to address those issues, but do you think maybe you may have to go transfer portal to fill in some of those holes?
Without question. That's what we're going to have to do. That's what we're going to do. That's the plan, is to find players that have game experience, that until Jared can grow and develop. Talking about Jared Mock, our quarterback, who's coming in. Ideally, we want to develop him and not have him being thrown in the fire. We want to find some guys that have experience and compete. We're going to bring guys in here that can compete and that love to play, and that's it. So, with that said, we have to find various positions in the portal to help us bridge the gap, because there is a huge gap between a group of freshmen to a senior, and there's really the classes of sophomores and juniors are very thin. So we've got to find kids that have had some game experience and that can help bridge the gap between the two classes.
We talked about the character of this incoming class quite a bit already as well, and we've had coaches in the past, head coaches said one of the things they target on high school teams is captains of the team. I see a lot of those on your roster as well.
Yeah, leadership is big. To develop leaders here is big. Having guys that have those traits is huge. The fact that they were captains, not just the best player, but in talking to these kids, holding somebody accountable, having a standard, understanding what it means to be a leader, and it goes a long way, because it's not a popular position. Not everybody can lead or wants to lead. And it's a skill set that can be developed still. So, again, those traits, when we're talking about the makeup of a great team and the makeup of a good player, was he a captain on the football team? And when you get guys that have been captains and hold that position high, you get a team full of guys with that mindset, and it's going to be a player-led environment ultimately that you're trying to create. And it's an environment that's producing positive results and positive mindset, and that's going to create opportunities and seek out solutions versus point out the problems. So that was very important for us, especially at the foundational stages we're in terms of developing talent here.
Your first recruiting class back here in the state of Ohio since you took the job. Got to wonder what that's like when Eddie George calls these families and comes to see these families. That obviously must have opened up some doors for you this past.
It may. Some of these kids don't know who I am, but their parents may know, grandparents may know, and that's fine. I'm so far removed from being the player that I was, and now I'm embracing the role of being the coach that I am currently. Going into my 6th year now, I've been through some wars. I've won a lot and lost a lot, and I'm learning and continue to grow. So what they're ultimately going to find is, and resonate with them, is the man that I am. And with the parents, who they're handing their children off to is to someone that they can trust. I'm not here to give some political statement just to get your kid to sign on the dotted line and be something different. I'm here to be an extension of the parent and to take what they've done to another level for their child, and to hold him accountable, to love on him, to discipline him, to develop him to be the best person that he can be and the best player that he can be. And I just look through it through a parent's eyes, because my own son, I got skin in the game. So he's on this team. So when I'm in front of that room, I'm just not speaking to them. I'm also speaking to him. So I'm going to coach them how I would coach my own son. So that's what you're going to get. And I don't pull any punches. I don't play favorites. It's going to be a fair game. It is what it is. Be very transparent and clear about the expectations and what the motive is here to get things done. So, hopefully that answers your question.
Coach, when you're meeting with these kids and you're meeting with these families, what is one thing that you might preach to them in these meetings as they go into the off season, as they transition to their high school careers and they begin their first collegiate season? Is there any one big message that you share with all the players and parents? Yeah,
the one big message is to come in with an open mind, open heart. Watch the veteran players that have been here. Find somebody that's doing it right, and follow what they do. And understand that things are going to come at you fast. You're going to be away from home. There's going to be some level of being homesick. So you got to deal with that and let them know. You're going to want to go home because you've been so used to doing certain things. You've been the man at your high school. You've been getting up, eating your Captain Crunch every morning, and things change. Now you have responsibility. You have to make sure you're going to class, and you got to go to certain meetings, and now that real life is hitting you in the face, and you're becoming a young adult. Nobody's going to hold your hand, and you're going to have to learn the hard way sometimes. But it's not punishment; it's preparation. It's preparing you for life. It's preparing you for the battles we're going to have to face during the course of the season. You're going to have to respond a certain way. So my message is to come in, enjoy, learn, be on time, be before time, and have a note, pen, and pad, and just watch some of the veterans, the leaders on this football team, to help them show the way.
When you talk about looking for character in a player and interests outside of football, how does that present itself to you in a meeting when you're talking to these kids?
What do you mean present? Like in terms of, give me an example.
Like when you ask somebody, what are your interests? What attracts you to BG aside from playing football there? What do they say, or what are some of those buzzwords that click in your mind of, okay, this guy's not rehearsed this. He genuinely loves drama or
it's the conversation. It's not buzzwords I'm looking for. I'm looking for how they respond, one, to the question, and two, if I'm getting an honest answer. I mean, it could be something as simple as, hey, I'm here. I love BG. I love the business school. I enjoy, going to certain plays. I don't know, whatever that may be. It's just anything outside of just the general football questions in terms of, are you willing to open up and to share your true thoughts, and that's what you're getting. And the kids are going to make mistakes. I was an 18-year-old kid. Not about no kid is perfect, and I don't expect them to be perfect. But what I am gathering is that the number one thing for them is, hey, I'm here to get an education first, to be a great teammate, to be selfless. But in terms of being selfless, I'm going to, if we're all successful, then I benefit from that success. I'm here for something greater than myself, So just hearing about, asking questions, hey, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a national championship ring or a state championship ring? Or would you rather have, 1,500 yards rushing? That's a tough question. But, if there's a blend of, hey, if we're winning a championship, it's going to come through me. I'm going to get 1,500 yards and then you get the best of both worlds. So those are the questions that you kind of find out the makeup of a person with their mindset of, is he more of a me guy or an us guy or a we guy? So that's what you kind of have in these conversations. And it's not a list of questions that I make sure I hit. It's just a genuine conversation that we're just having genuinely. And you'll get a sense of, okay, he's a good fit, or he may not last here. He may not be able to handle the rigors on a day-to-day basis or the demands on a day-to-day basis when you come into this building.
The college football world, and frankly now business of college football, has changed a lot since you played. What are some things that you take from your recruiting journey and from your time as a player that you emphasize to kids as you're recruiting them? Some things that you valued as a player, you learned from coaches that you used to pitch them on BG or Tennessee State back in the day?
Again, it's about their vision. What do you want out of this? This is very important because some guys want to get paid, and that's the reality of it. And we're not here to provide a lifestyle for you in the short term. I'm here to give you a set of tools and principles that can last you a lifetime, that you can have great success after your playing days. So that's important for me to have that genuine understanding. Is like what's important, because kids, hey, I want a brand. They come in with a logo already, and now you got to put in the work first, and then the work will determine your brand and all this other stuff. And it's okay to think that way, but you got to put in the work first, and nobody wants to put in the work prior to becoming this brand or getting NIL and having money. So those are the things, because when I grew up, it was about putting on the uniform and playing for the state of Ohio and playing for the Buckeye Nation and going to the Rose Bowl and winning the Big Ten championship. Is beating that team up north. Nowadays, it's about, well, who has the most money in the bag, or how many hits I can get on Twitter, or how many followers I can get, or how many endorsements can I have. It's not about what I grew up, and that's where it's evolved to, and that's we're going to have to play that game. We're going to have the resources to do just that. But there's an element to this. Well, tradition still matters, discipline still matters, education still matters. To be competitive still matters. To handle adversity most definitely still matters. Because even if you go on to play football and you go on to make $100 million in the next level, well, guess what? That's just a starting point. That's just the starting point for you financially. Who are you? What's your purpose? What's your God-given purpose? That's long-lasting more than just a moment in the NFL or a moment in college football and making a little bit of money. Money is a great thing, but you want to have a blueprint that you can follow of how you can be successful and transition and transform and grow and evolve into the person that you're capable of being. So that's kind of what I believe in with that.
You've got almost a month, a little bit under, until the transfer portal opens up. What are the two different approaches that have to happen when you look at the differences in recruiting out of high school to now recruiting out of the transfer portal, just looking ahead to how the message shifts, if at all, to that?
Oh, the message really doesn't shift. I think it's consistent. I think it's about now you're going to find guys to try to find a home that, A, you're looking for opportunities to play, B, some guys are trying to come up another level, and it's going to be important for me and our staff to be perfectly clear on what we're looking for and have a rifle approach. It's about production over potential, and at this point, just when you look at the portal, ideally you want to get that, but then you'll have guys that have the measurables, the traits that you're looking for, and it's about, hey, do you want to go out and compete? It can't be just about getting the highest bidder, and that's it. Because if you do that, then you're cutting yourself off of a wonderful opportunity of being at a great university, getting a great education, and going on to do great things within the conference and so forth and beyond. So that's what it comes down to.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Who you got Saturday night, Coach?
Oh man, I'm thinking, what's happening Saturday night? Is there a fight? Right. Yeah. Who we playing hockey wise? Who we playing hockey wise? Ooh, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be at that one. I hadn't had a chance to really look at Indiana, but what I do know is they're a tough football team. Nobody's talking about the Hoosiers. Singeti, I'm a believer. It's going to be a really good one. But what I saw out of Ohio State is a complete football team played against Michigan, and it was up close and personal. How they approached that game, I was very impressed. And the things that I heard coming out of that locker room was, hey, it's not going to be our hate against Michigan. It's going to be our love for each other that wins this game. That is a different approach, completely a different set of a mindset. Now, years prior, there was that, but it was really emphasized in that locker room that we're going to win for the brotherhood, and it showed. They didn't get distracted by the pregame antics of going back and forth with that team up north. They just stayed steady, got off to a little bit of a rocky start, but they found a way to just settle down, make plays, and just stayed on their neck the entire time. So I expect it to be a competitive ball game. I think Ohio State wins by 10. I think they find a way, but it's going to be a hard-fought ball game. I really do.